Starts a night 50 years ago, someplace in Wiltshire, and Violet Gavin is giving birth.
Well, it's okay.
And shortly after, Bridget, according to her version of events, said her first word.
Marmalade!
Shortly after, position 2. Shortly after, Bridget's brother Leo came along, and they had a lot in common, including one particularly interesting hobby.
I'm hungry. Well, the ground is covered with chewing gum.
I've caught you eating chewing gum off the ground, so you have two choices. Either I beat you with the wooden spoon, or you make me the center of attention for the rest of your life.
You can decide what the choice was in that particular situation. Now we're going to spin forward a bit here because not much happened, through childhood, and we're going to go to a fateful night when Bridget met the love of her life, who at the time happened to be sharing a house with her brother Leo.
Who was that?
Hey, Leo! I'm drunk and so are all my friends. Well, let me look at them. Wow, he's really drunk!
And so began a beautiful relationship based on a shared passion for watching television in bed. Until one fateful night.
Let me just turn it over. The road isn't working! What are we gonna do? Well, I suppose we could get married. Okay.
So they did get married, and after a while they decided to extend the family unit. And one fateful night, Bridget started to give birth.
Oh, Jesus, I was sore. I'm never doing that again. What the hell is happening? Sean, you're getting that thing cut off.
Now, through our life together, Bridget has had many jobs, has many qualifications, a scatter of degrees, but finally she managed to achieve her dream, which was to own her own business and to work with other people's children.
Happy birthday to you.
Saoirse, Ellen and Keelan, take a big bag and a big round of applause. Ellie wants to say something.
My daddy's drunk.
Wow, you've seen me drunk loads of times. You must know I'm not drunk. Okay, so that, as I said, there won't be a lot of speeches tonight, but for those of you who haven't met Bridget's or know Bridget's family very well, the Gavin family, They're a family steeped in tradition. There's lots of traditions they like to observe, like not paying tax, and having children out of wedlock, that kind of thing. Anytime there's any sort of a family do here, something that always happens is that Violet has to say a few words because she is the matriarch of the Gavins with the mellifluous voice. And please give it up for Violet Gavin. Okay, she's going to say it. It's going to be very casual.
It has to be. Well, now, Bridgie, really, during her life, it's amazing, but she has gone from Kip to cottage to castle, and from castle to cottage to Kip, and back again to the Hill of Hope, where she is now. But I live in fashionable Barna, so I don't give a hoot. So I'll just start where the kids left off. Bridget was born when we were in a huge place in England called Blunt's Court, where Gracie Fields used to sing songs for the armed services during the war. It was an RAF place and very large. When we moved to a 300-year-old cottage, which was converted from a school. We stayed there for a while, and then Bill Gavin decided to emigrate. He told me one day he was going to Somerset House the next day, and that we would be leaving the following Monday for Johannesburg. And that was all I knew about it. Liam, of course, was part. Liam, would you please listen, because a lot of your stuff, when you come to be 50, will be like this, and I'll be either dead or too tired to repeat it. So we went to the Wilds View Hotel in Johannesburg, which was for immigrants, and stayed there till Bill got a job. And his job was with nuts and bolts. And if anyone knows Billy Gavin, they'll know he'd be a bit vain for a job like that. So I think he deliberately got sacked. So we then went back to Wilds View again, and from there to a place called Norwood, which was famous because a woman there was protesting against apartheid. She was under house arrest. So we lived there for a while. We then went to a place called Dunbar Street, then to the only house we bought in Africa, which was an observatory. That had a history as well, because the owners, who were Jews, entertained the Africans, and that was against the law, very strictly. So the police were always surrounding this house, and blacks and whites were swimming in the pool, which was unheard of in Joburg, unheard of. So they were going to be locked up and put in prison. And the owners made their way through what is now Botswana land and Zimbabwe, all these places, and got to England. So that was it. Then we bought that house, and I had to report to the police because the shed was full of communist literature. And they said, that's all right, ma'am, you're okay there, leave it there. But had I not reported it, I would have been in trouble. We then came home to Brafey Road in Castlebar, lived with his mum for a while, and up then to South Circular Road in Dublin, which was near my sister Vera. Then to Carl's Cross, then to the first estate in Dublin, Coulamba Road, built by Mulholland. Then to a bungalow, because we were too snobbish to live in an estate, moved to a bungalow. Bridget then went to Freiburg in Germany for a summer, and for some strange reason she became lonely and came home prematurely. I don't know why, God knows, because it was in a lovely place in Germany. We then went to Morrow House, which I think most people here know about, also has a big history attached to it. And one day Bridgie lost all her sociology notes on the railway line, and she was running off, I don't know, she must have been naughty or something, and then she decided it's best not go back. So she went to Presentation Road, and I think she met Marion there, not sure. from Presentation Road to College Road, from College Road to a flat over a bakery in town. And I was teaching in the Mercy, and I decided one day at a free class I'd get some grub. Up I went, and I was delighted, opened the fridge, and I think I said this at Marion's wedding. There was a saucer of cold tinned peas and one slice of lettuce. So I quickly went back to the school where we had lovely tea in the staff room. After that then, now I want to thank Mary Jennings for sending me the next bit. Now, Mary started off in the Latin language, apologia pro vitae sui. But I'm delighted to say that for a doctor, she then plunged very far down. She started to work on the computer. And I'm delighted to say that Dr. Jennings made a few mistakes. So it made me feel better because I know nothing about it. Thanks very much, Mary. So Mary shared a house in Celbridge with Grania McMurrow, who is here. And Grania had a dog called Philou. And I remember putting out water for the dog every morning. I think Mary Jennings got to know her at that time, and they went to Ballsbridge. You see how I'm moving up and down all the time? A very posh house in Ballsbridge. I was there myself, actually. Back to Inchicore, and in this particular flat, Bridget was in the habit of having parties, and a guy told me afterwards that he went up to the loo, and when he flushed the toilet, the water came down and wet all the French baguette. Well, they weren't French then, they were Irish baguette, and they were all wet along the sink. I don't think even Bridgie knows about this. From there to a flat in Kenilworth Square, and after that a strange thing happened. Liam was living in the Liberties in Grey Street, and Bridgie went to visit, and I think the rest is history. Sean painted the house in Reginald Street. It's a bit like that guy on the television, Dell. You know Dell with the paint. He used glass paint, and of course it did turn out like something you'd see in the ladies and gents. Anyway, after that they moved to London and went to a flat in Stratford, and Bridgie went to college. Excuse me, the London School of Economics my daughter went to. But